welcome to another Garage Time with Goody. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be replacing the lateral control arms on a 2011 3.6 liter Dodge Avenger. These are going to be going into the rear of the car, and the first side I'm going to do is the rear driver side, and you can see the new parts look like this. And what happens, usually these bushings or bearings, they will get worn out, and sometimes it's totally non-existent, and the back of the car can wobble from left to right real bad, or even up and down sometimes. The thing you want to do is to jack up the car until the rear wheel is about 1 to 2 inches off the ground. Then I'm going to put this jack stand underneath, and that way if the jack fails or falls, the jack stand will safely hold it up. And then if your tire is stuck, hit it at 12, 6, 3, and 9. But this one is not stuck, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull it off, lay it to the side. Now I'm going to inspect what we call the toe arms. And this right here is a toe arm. We're going to inspect the toe arm. As you can see inside of there, the bushing is wore down, and it's just pretty much destroyed. And it's like that in the front too. The lateral toe rods, they have a curve in them. It curves down and then back up and connects to right here. And right here, this bushing looks pretty worn too. What happens when it all wears out, it allows the car to move this way and then that way. And basically it can feel like it's fishtailing, things of that nature, and this will help tremendously with that. The lower lateral control arm is located right here, and then this is the cam bolt that adjusts the tires in and out, the way your tires are going to set on the ground and how it wears on the thread to the road. This should be a 15mm nut. These up here should be 18s. Here's an upper view of the toe arm, and you can see how it fits into this little sleeve, and the bearing is shot in it too. And that causes the car to go back and forth in an uncontrollable way, in a dangerous way that can cause it to swerve. And we're going to be replacing those. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some PB Blaster, and I'm going to give these back. I'm going to work on the top lateral first, and I'm going to put some PB Blaster on there, and I'm going to put it on the bottom laterals too. And I'm going to let these bolts soak in and saturate that rust away, and hopefully it'll penetrate the threads. I'm going to give it about 10 minutes. And in the meantime, you're going to want a box wrench. I'm going to be using a 19mm. I'm going to use the open end part of this wrench on right here on the back on this bolt, on this nut, and it's going to be a 19mm. The reason why you have to use the open end is if you can see that it's almost up against the body of the car. So you're going to have to use the open end part of the wrench to fit on this side. Then I have concocted this. This right here is a 10-inch extension with a swivel with an 18mm socket. It is going to go on the back of that bolt, and I'm going to try to remove it while holding this so that it doesn't move. I'm going to go back behind this suspension. It's going to go back in here, on top of here, and over top that bolt. And remember, in the back, the head of the bolt will be facing the rear of the car, and the thread of the bolt to where the nut is will be facing the front of the car. Okay, we're going to go in behind the suspension again. And put this extension on it. And that's how you bring it, that's how you get that bolt out right there. And what I highly recommend you doing once you get this bolt out, you can see all the rust coming off the threads. Go ahead and put some PB Blaster in a cup and let these soak, or put some anti-seize on them. And as you can see, it's disconnected. The rear lateral, the upper rear lateral in the back is disconnected. Now I'm going to disconnect the front right here. Okay, now we're going for the upper outer bolts. I'm going to put the wrench on the left side on the nut, and I'm going to try to see if it'll come off with the impact gun. It's going to be easier for this one because it's not at a cockeyed angle. It's a pretty big bolt. We're going to go ahead and put that in some PB Blaster also. And now the lateral link, the top lateral link is off. And as you can see, look at that. Look at that bearing inside there, how loose that is. It's just in terrible shape, rusted, bent. Go ahead and put this over the nut. And back that on out. That should come on out. Just like that. I'm going to go soak this one also in the PB Blaster. This is going to be the cam bolt. You can see there's a washer up against it. That bolt will come off and the washer will stay. And then you just kind of tap that bolt through the washer. That washer is what adjusts the camber of the tire, of how the tire sets. That's how you can align it. But anyways, this is a 15 millimeter. And I have a 10-inch extension on my cordless impact gun. And it is hooked to that 15 millimeter. And on the other side, we have a bolt that is 19 millimeter. And I'm going to put a wrench on there and just back the bolt on out. Next, I'm going to use a chisel to get that metal washer off of the cam bolt nut. And it should just slide forward once you use a chisel or a flathead screwdriver. And as you can see, it's kind of like a key. It's what adjusts the camber to your alignment. Next, if it's going to come out, you just take a hammer and you start hitting the bolt backwards. And only 1 in 4 of these bolts are going to come out. Unfortunate steps you may have is 3 out of 4 of the lower lateral bolts, and that is the rear, the cam bolt, is seized and welded into place. And one of the easiest ways to get it out of there, some people take an angle grinder, but I'm going to be taking a portable reciprocal saw with a known good metal cutting blade, a Milwaukee. I'm going to reach it in like so. I'm gonna adjust this up and I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna put this up against the housing and in between this lower lateral. And then I'm just gonna cut. Here's what happens when the bearing is bad inside of the car. If it's connected to the car, you can see that wiggle back and forth, and over time it's going to generate heat and friction, and then it becomes welded into the bearing. The cam bolt does, and then only about 1 in 4 of these bolts are able to come out. If not, you will have to saw the bolt in two like I have done here on each side of the bracket. And once you do that, it'll come right off, and you will have to replace it with a new cam bolt. You can see on this cam bolt how it fused together. But once you order another cam bolt, which I will put a link to in the video description, and they average about $15, and you'll need at least 2 of them, one for the other side, you will be able to put everything back together just the way you took it off. And that's all there is to it. And once you get it all back together, do not forget to take your car to an alignment shop so that your car will be in a line.